Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts, the podcast with a flair for the spooky and the dramatic. I'm your spirited host, Jennifer, a professional medium and a teller of ghost stories. And tonight's episode will be spooky and dramatic, as promised, as we explore tales of haunted theaters, shadow people, banging doors, flickering lights. Theater spaces seem to offer it all. Then linger around for tonight's in-studio spirit reading. If you've ever been curious as to what a medium reading can be like, I love sharing my work with you. And you can find out how you can sign up for your own reading as well. Then join me around the seance table for a message from the spirits. Are you feeling like this message might be for you? Tonight may be the night to connect with one of your departed loved ones. So thank you for attending. But for now, the lights are dimming, so make your way to your seat. The theater ghosts are gathering in the wings right now. In the early 1970s, I was working at a live theater on an Army base, Fort Lewis, in Washington State. The Centurion Playhouse had a small company of civilian employees and assigned military folks. We did about 10 shows per year, as well as 4 operas. I was working late one night, hanging light fixtures high above the stage, while standing on top of a large, overextended ladder. Everyone had gone home for the night, and I was making great time getting these lights up and ready for focusing in the morning. All of the house lights in the building were off, and had been for a few hours, so I could see where I was aiming the lights. Alone with my thoughts, I was startled when I felt a firm tap on my left shoulder and heard a hello from behind me. This really scared me because I was alone at the top of a 25-foot ladder. I whipped around as carefully as I could to see a male figure, dressed in a flannel shirt and suspenders with a full beard and messy hair. I got down the ladder in a flash, ran out of the building, jumped in my car, and didn't look back. The theater was right next to the base exit and the freeway on-ramp. I blasted north on Interstate 5 and in moments drove past the theater to see all the lights in the building on and all the doors open. I drove to my boss's house and related my story to him. He reluctantly went to the theater and closed the building up, finding it the way I described. He had worked in the Army Live Theater Division at Fort Lewis for some years and told me some of his experiences, much like my own. He said that yes, there were some evidence of a ghost, local newspaper reports from 20 years prior, and things like that. It seems the Centurion Playhouse was built in the early stages of World War II on the site of a frontier cemetery that later became Fort Lewis. Other things happened to me while I continued to work there. During one performance, 2 large doors at the entrance to the balcony seats started swinging back and forth on their own. This lasted long enough for me to check the doors and to notice the sound of other doors in the building banging away. After the show, people backstage experienced the same thing. Other times, I would hear mumbling or talking on stage, and I'd walk over to say hi to whoever might be there, to find no one. Aside from that first time on the ladder, I kept on rationalizing my experiences, telling myself it must have been the wind or that the old building was settling. After some time, the army phased out the Centurion Theater, later to tear it down. I don't consider myself a believer in ghosts, but always do feel there must be something to it. Like everyone else who says they've had an experience, I know what I saw. When I was in college in Bowling Green, Ohio, I played in a rock band. We used to practice late at night in one of the older academic buildings, setting up our gear in the large theater. The other guitar player was my then boyfriend, who is one of those ghost magnet people you hear about. The only strange things I've ever had happen to me in my life happened while I was dating him. Our experiences at the theater started in sort of a vague way. Eerie feelings, cold drafts coming down around us, lights flickering, or the sensation of being watched. Sometime later, objects would move, like a heavy speaker that suddenly leaped 6 feet forward off the table and fell to the ground as if someone had pushed it from behind. I can remember crying and yelling about almost nothing, and having several bass players walk out permanently, enraged over trivialities. One night, after the usual light flickering and cold drafts, all the lights went very low, and the exit sign over the door started to flash. I got incredibly creeped out immediately. I asked to be driven home right away, and my boyfriend complied. He drove me home and then went back to finish packing up the bass player and the drummer. Before they left, they did an equipment check and noticed that one of my effects pedals was missing. They went back into the building, and there was my effects pedal in the middle of a square table, which was in the middle of the stage. They felt as though they were being asked back into the room. My boyfriend took out a notebook and gave everyone a piece of paper. He told them to write down their impressions of a presence, including age, gender, appearance, and also note where they thought this being might be in the room. Without discussing it, he and the bass player wrote down chillingly similar descriptions. The presence seemed to them to be a young man with brown hair and glasses. My boyfriend wrote down the detail of a maroon sweater vest, and the bass player wrote down freckles. All of them placed the presence within 2 rows and 3 seats of the same location in the audience section of the theater. At that, they immediately left. We decided to move our practices out of the theater and into the office space of one of the radio stations, which was in the basement. In this space, our practices were more peaceful until one night, when in the middle of a song, our normally mechanically correct drummer skipped a beat and faltered. We all stopped playing. We discovered that we all had become aware of a human but entirely black shape near the door, which seemed to be observing us. And when we gave it our attention, it had quickly left the doorway. my ever-curious and calm boyfriend decided to talk to one of the building security guards. We did find one and asked her if she had ever seen anything odd. She told us that a high school senior had died just outside this building directly after graduation. Furthermore, she had been a junior at the same high school when this had happened. She said she had a particular interest in patrolling this building. She thought she had seen him that summer after he died, wearing the outfit he wore for his senior picture. They asked her what he looked like. She said, brown hair, glasses, freckles. And in his senior picture, he had been wearing a maroon sweater vest. The woman told us his name was Patrick. After that, every time we came into the building and went downstairs to practice, my boyfriend would call out cheerfully, "Hello, Patrick. We don't mean to bug you or anything, but we're going to practice now, down in the basement." The ghost never gave us any more problems, and our arguments and difficulties stopped. When we graduated and moved on, we went back to the theater and said goodbye to Patrick. Are you enjoying your ghostly visit? If so, please follow, like, comment, and share. The ghosts may be talkative, but they are lousy at marketing, so every click helps. Tell your friends, and please leave a kind review so that others might join us. The spirits and I thank you. Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. My guest this evening is Sean. Sean, how are you doing? Welcome to your reading.
I'm doing really good. I'm excited.
Yay, I am excited too. I said, beforehand, that's like, I want to do right by you. I want to get, I've got a lot of energy around this reading in particular, and maybe that'll make sense to me later. Who knows? Who knows? I do have my notes for you. And a lot of times spirits will come in together, so there may be some details that are blending in. But first impressions for you was I was getting a father figure. Mm-hmm. Does this make sense to you? Has your dad passed away?
Yeah, about 24 years ago.
Oh, a while ago. Yeah, okay, this makes sense. Oh, that makes him pretty young when he passed, huh?
Yeah, 48.
48. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry. He was talking about some body pain. I'm guessing I'm getting the impression of cancer.
100%, yep.
Okay. Did he smoke?
No.
When he was younger?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe a little bit, but not like my mother, who has always been a smoker. I mean, I think maybe off and on kind of thing, but... Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It didn't seem quite related. This seemed different, but it was just a kind of a detail. I was kind of smelling cigarette smoke.
Interesting. Maybe just being around my mom so much could have been probably too, and she's still alive, but that's interesting.
Yeah, just kind of a lifestyle thing.
Yeah.
He seems very smart and hands-on to me. Does that sound like him?
For sure, yeah. I was raised like he could take apart a vehicle and put it all back together. He was very hands-on with the house and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, this makes sense. I was going to ask you about cars and if you helped him with cars and working on cars and things like that, or were you too young?
I was too young, and I'm going to try not to get too emotional, but
be emotional. We should be emotional.
This was what I was mostly afraid of, but we always dreamt about building a vehicle together, and so I ended up building a custom truck that was my dream pretty much ever since he passed away. And I built a truck that was featured in a magazine and stuff, and I kind of dedicated that to him.
Oh my gosh, that is so amazing. Yeah, he's bringing up feelings of legacy, and
Yeah.
He was showing me working on cars at night. Like, I'm seeing a light. Like, this is a daytime, nighttime thing, you know?
Sure.
And yeah, and it seemed related to him. It seemed related to you.
100%. Yeah, I build a lot of custom vehicles and stuff.
Okay. But yes, and I smelled motor oil and like a grease rag, and like late nights
Yep.
doing this. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yep. And see, I was too young to probably be around him much when he did, but I know for a fact that he was really involved with that and stuff. And that's kind of what the smell is, something that's been strong actually all day today, which is interesting while I was driving around and stuff, and just stronger than usual, which I thought I noticed today for some reason. So
that is not a coincidence. You know, the fact that it came in for me, you noticed it too. Wow. That is fantastic. And I wonder if that can be kind of a calling card for him.
Maybe, yeah, it's possible. I'll pay more attention to it for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I got goosebumps.
Right.
Did he carry you on his shoulders when you were young? Do you remember that?
I think so, and I wouldn't be surprised. He was a big man.
He was showing me that. I was wondering about monster trucks. Did you ever do monster trucks when you were younger?
I know we always talked about it.
Okay.
I don't know if we actually ever made it, but I've made it a point to take my boys. So
okay,
because of that, but I don't know if we actually ever got. I don't have a memory of actually going, but I know like we always wanted to, kind of thing. So.
I saw it. It was presented to me as a visual, and when that happens, it can be a little tricky as to. I don't like to interpret it too much, but there I am asking, right? But the fact that it makes sense to you.
Yep.
And I was going to ask you if you had sons and if you have a brother, because your dad was kind of saying that he sees your sons and there's this sense of lightness about it because it reminds him of you and your brother.
I didn't have a brother, but I've always wanted a brother, kind of thing.
Maybe that is it. The indication of you have the two sons. Here is the brotherhood, and you have that with your kids. And how amazing is that?
For sure.
He sees them. He absolutely sees them.
We talk about them all the time. Yeah, with our boys. So.
He knows it.
Good.
I don't know how much of his personality that you know or have heard of, but he's kind of indicating that he had a bit of a private side. It's almost like he partitioned himself off a little bit, like part 1, part 2.
Yeah. He was in the military, so there's a lot that I don't know about that. And I feel like that was probably what it means by partition. Like, there was no talk about what happened when he served in Vietnam, and he actually got Agent Orange, which is what led to the cancer that took him away from us.
I think he is saying that is something he just wanted to put into a box and put it on a shelf.
I can understand.
Yeah. I think I was being shown like either root beer or cream soda.
I do enjoy it, and I think as a kid we used to have it quite a bit. So,
did you ever do like the root beer floats? Because I'm seeing it really foamy. You know?
Oh yes, and I still enjoy those to this day for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I love it when little snippets of childhood come in.
Right.
Because like for me, I never did the root beer thing, and so when things like that connect, it's really, really neat. Swimming outdoors was another detail that came up. Rivers, lakes.
Lakes, yep. We always camped out at right next to a lake out near us, and we still do that now. I take my boys out and we go camping and do the same.
Do you ever throw the kids in the water?
Maybe.
Maybe it's your dad's suggestion. Or maybe,
Right.
like, did you go swimming with your dad when you were little and, like, he throw
I'm
you
sure
in the water?
Yeah.
I do have some messages for you, but I do want to ask beforehand if there was anyone else you were hoping would come in.
My dad was who I wanted to connect with the most, and I thought maybe my grandma might come through in my hopes.
Well, let's see with your grandma. Did she have a good sense of humor?
Yeah.
She seemed to be coming in laughing.
That would make sense.
You know, there's a lot of talk of pausing or needing to pause. I don't know if that means anything to you right now. It was coming up with your dad too. Just having to pause and take a step back or put things on hold or take things slowly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I've been thinking really hard about remodeling our kitchen and stuff like that and stuff. So it could be that, just to take our time. As I get antsy about rushing into and just doing things. So that could be very well what it could be.
Well, they're definitely saying you're skilled at things and you make good decisions, but
Well, that's good.
yeah. Oh yeah, I think your grandma wants to brag about you a little bit. You're just a sweetheart. Is there a streak of hot-headedness in your family a little bit?
Yeah, some anger issues and stuff that I know like my dad had and that I had to overcome.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Your grandma wants to say, "What's this?"
She would too.
What is this?
She would. I don't think she would approve so much.
Oh, she's like, you're lovely, but wants to kind of tease you a bit about the beard.
Yeah, she would. I love it.
Let me give you your messages.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see there being a little bit of focus on money for you presently, but work towards your goals. Don't just work to work. You know, I think we can focus on the money, but, you know, at the end of the day, life has so much more meaning when we're working towards something like a goal more than, gosh, we need the money. You know what I mean?
100%.
And pausing isn't wasted time. Gain a new perspective and things will work when the timing is right.
I like that.
So what do you think of your reading?
I love it. It's everything I hope for.
Oh, good. Because that is so important to me. It felt like you deserved it. You absolutely deserved it. And I knew it was important.
It was really important.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this with me. And further glimpse into your family is just very, very heartwarming. Before we go, I'd love to ask you, do you have a personal ghost story?
I do.
Listener ghost story.
A lot of it revolves around when I was young, and mostly around my sister, who is about a year and a half younger than me. We lived in this house that more or less we grew up in, and it always felt really odd. Even to this day, if I walked into it, I don't think I'd feel right about it. My sister and I slept in the same bedroom, bunk beds and whatnot, and she saw things that I still can't explain to this day. There's many times when she would tell us that she would wake up in the middle of the night and see 3 black shadow figures like standing at the door. Never knew if it was to protect or whatnot, but they could be standing there all night. And this would happen more than once. So it was just the craziest thing. And something that still creeps me out to this day. I almost wish that I could have seen it. It's always been stuck in my brain about how she's seen things and experienced spirits around and things like that. Even moving on to a different house, she would talk about seeing things and just being more aware of the other side, I guess.
Yeah, but you yourself said that you thought the house was creepy? Like, what was the vibe? Was it any particular spot in the house? Was it the house itself all around?
Just the house in general, for some reason. Even like, just one of those things, like I still have dreams to this day about that basement, like those stairs going down where the door is, like behind the stairs to exit outside. I still have dreams about that house and just how creepy it is, just all the feelings in that house. And I mean, that was even before my dad passed away in the house, but just a weird vibe for sure.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Yeah.
I hope this doesn't trigger a dream about the basement.
Me too.
Would you like a free spirit reading with me and record your reading for the podcast? Sign up for your chance to be selected by visiting italktoghosts.com/guest. And as an added bonus, if you don't want to leave your reading up to chance, I'll let you in on a secret. There's a discount offer to book a private session with me, so you can book a date and time for certain. Visit italktoghosts.com/guest for more details. I can't wait to meet you. Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. Thank you for joining me around the seance table this evening. I have a message from the spirits. Tonight I am working with an obsidian and a moonstone tower. I love to hold these as just a point of focus while I quiet my mind and open a space for someone to come close. Tonight I have with me someone's older son who has passed away. He's showing me his tumultuous teenage years. He had a lot of chaotic energy, and he recognizes that. Caused you a lot of worrying. You two had arguments. It was a really difficult set of years for you. But he's cheering me up with some of his earlier childhood memories. He used to chatter a lot, just would always be talking to himself while he played with his toys. Nonsensical little kid chatter, and it warmed your heart. You loved hearing him. And he also says that when he was little, he used to say you had the softest skin. You had the softest skin, Mama. And yeah, he's sharing with me those memories to cheer you up. His message for you this evening is he loves you, of course, and that he sees you doing the right things, and that he sees you trying, and he just wants to encourage that he acknowledges that you're at a point in your own life where you're trying to turn things around. You really are, and he sees you doing it, and he believes in you and that you can do it. Dive into your intuition for guidance and find that quiet for the first time in your life, and just protect it, cherish it, and thrive in it. He says you're ready to level up. So if these messages connect and resonate for you, I would love to know. So please reach out. Thank you. Book a medium reading with me if you have a past loved one you would like to connect with. A spirit reading can be an amazing and never spooky experience. I strive to give you specific details that align only to you and your loved ones. Curious? Visit italktoghosts.com for links to book with me. I can't wait to meet you. And with that, dear listener, we've reached the end of this episode of I Talk to Ghosts. I hope you've enjoyed the spirit work and the spooky haunted theater ghost stories that I shared with you this evening. Have you ever had something paranormal happen to you in a theater? I would love to hear about it. In the meantime, wherever you wander off to in this world or the next, just remember, come back and visit with me. Have a lovely evening and good night.